So Bo Nickal is returning to wrestling via the Real American Freestyle promotion. Now, of course, amongst the Bo Nickal not fans, I'm sure this is a hot topic and even more evidence for some early retirement because he couldn't cut it or what have you. That's not what I'm here to talk about or debate or encourage. No, what got my attention was the fact that he was allowed to do it. Being under contract with the UFC, I am not going to make a 30-40 minute video playing clips of his interview with Ariel and reacting to clips. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you the main thing that I got out of it and what I believe is happening or potentially can happen. Ariel asked, how did this come about? How did the UFC allow it? So forth and whatnot. The part of how the UFC allowed it was either ignored or just overlooked by Bo. He said nothing of the sort as to why he was allowed to do it or the details of him being allowed, what have you. It doesn't even matter what the details are. What I think, though, is this is potentially another branch in the TKO group tree. I remember when this first was announced and people with skin in the game, example, Jim Cornette was talking on this and somewhat making light of it, and in my opinion, kind of fair criticism of who was running it, which would be Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan, and I believe Israel Martinez, which that's not the key factor here for me. But Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan are directly connected to the lore, the universe of the WWE. Hulk Hogan himself has an ongoing deal with WWE for the Real American Beer. The Netflix premiere January 6th, Hulk Hogan came out with Jimmy Hart for a segment on Monday Night Raw, and the crowd reaction wasn't too great. We haven't seen Hulk Hogan since, but we always see ads for his beer. I believe this could be allowed because just like UFC, BJJ, what I would call mat wrestling or freestyle wrestling, I like mat wrestling better. You can't call it professional wrestling. You can see Ben Askren here, man. Hope nothing but the best for him and his. I think Bo was allowed because this is kind of in works for TKO to absorb. Or maybe Bischoff has the idea to get this big enough to get it to TKO, sell it off. I can't imagine Bischoff and Hogan at this point in their lives wanting to run a business until they leave this planet, but I can imagine them building a business to sell it, especially with previous and active business partners under the TKO group. And to be honest with you, I like it. I hope that is what's happening. But like I was saying, Jim Cornette was saying, kind of making light of it, and other people were as well, and not taking it too serious. But who they have signed, if you don't know wrestling all that well, these names are pretty good names, some of them elite names, including UFC's own Bo Nickal. Whether you think he's an elite MMA fighter or not, definitely in the upper echelon of wrestling. I also like the logo, and it's very close to the TKO logo. I believe this will be an interesting event, and it will be covered here. It's very possible this isn't at all anything, but Eric Bischoff is not, if you don't know what he did with WCW against WWE while Vince McMahon was running it, I guess you don't know. But he's got an acumen that this has to be going somewhere for him to believe in it and put his name under it. It doesn't get any more original in combat sports than what I am gonna go ahead and call mat wrestling until they give me something better than professional wrestling. Professional wrestling is Monday Night Raw. I also do wonder if this is a path, an avenue for wrestlers to not go into MMA and start making a professional career out of what I'm calling mat wrestling, at least for now. If you have a better term, let me know. Freestyle wrestling isn't gonna work. It is freestyle wrestling, but to label it ubiquitous as freestyle wrestling, it's not gonna work. As you can see, it's partnered with Real American Beer, which is Hogan's beer once again, which is under contract with TKO, which Hogan has a couple of lifetimes of experience in business with various people sprinkled throughout. As we get closer to Dustin Poirier's fight against Max Holloway for the BMF title, I'm beginning to wonder what could happen if Dustin were to win and the significance or historical reference value it may have, being that he would retire as the BMF. On one level, it's something that a rabid fan would fantasize about, right? Dustin never really got to get that golden carrot, but maybe he wasn't meant to. Maybe Dustin was designed to tear through the company and have a level of respect that most UFC fighters dream of their entire career never receiving it. I know there's people out there that just don't like the BMF title or what have you, but I don't fully agree, because what Max Holloway and Justin Gaethje ended up doing in the final seconds of the last round at UFC 300 brought the BMF title to life. Max carrying that belt around does have value and does mean something. Even when we look back at Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz, when you reference that, there is a loving connective tissue to the title itself. And what this title was actually going to end up being, or what true value it would have, was fully dependent on who Max Holloway was going to fight next. And for it to be Dustin Poirier in New Orleans for his retirement fight, and basically this card is not some super stacked card. So get ready for all the video complaints and people with their hot takes and whatnot, the rage bait and everything that people just can't get enough of for some reason. The value of this card is Dustin Poirier. It's his last fight. That makes it worth the money. My opinion, I would imagine several others. His opponent only sweetens the deal. The BMF title, with the potential of Dustin retiring as the BMF champion, and on the second level of this whole thing, retiring the BMF title out of the UFC, pleasing fans that hate it no matter what happens with it, is too big of a thing to potentially see. I don't see this going to decision. Max may surprise me, but I don't see him finishing Dustin. And if he does, boy howdy. If Max beats Dustin, I can't see another opponent in the top 15 that's going to steady or increase the value of the BMF title. And I don't think he would be able to use it to finagle some kind of contender shot or the champion himself, the lineal BMF champion, Ilia Topuria. Max is in a rough spot if you ask me. Jamahal Hill has came out and talked about fighting Khalil Roundtree or what have you. Came across a clip that was him talking about people severely underestimate the injuries that he dealt with and whatnot. But I mean, maybe that's true online. People weren't aware of it or something. I was fully aware, and anything I saw in my social media sphere, it seemed like everyone was aware the injuries he was dealing with, such as an Achilles tendon being ripped or cut or torn. Pretty fucking serious. And he came back pretty fucking quick. And he didn't take the loss too well. I mean, to come out now and be honest about it, I don't know how many fans it's going to attract for him, but he's also wrong. I think people were aware of how serious his injuries were, and also the stuff he was going through in his personal life that people like to make jokes about. Jamal has a big issue being flat-footed, and I thought he was kind of picking it up around the time he won the title. Maybe it was the fight after that, I believe so. I was like, okay, maybe he's getting better with the footwork, but he's truly not, at least to this point. And I am a fan of Jamahal Hill. I wrote about him when nobody liked that he beat Glover and became the champion. I'll link it below. I had his back when nobody did. But at this point, Jamal should definitely have progressed in fight IQ, in real time, and technical ability. Specifically, moving his feet. He doesn't have to be springy, but his foot is very heavy on the, his back foot is very heavy on the blade. The ball of his foot and his big toe is not really a factor in the way that he moves, and because of his boxing, that should be a thing. But I digress. What do I know? Then the beat dropped and we exploded into our moves. We were doing the whip, the nay-nay, we were bouncing all over the place, hitting the quan too. Belal Muhammad says he wants to welcome Ilia to 170. First off, everyone, can we not be jumping all the crazy guns right away? What do you mean? Secondly, I think Ilia knocks Belal out within 2 rounds. You snotty little bastard. SHAUNA Bannon's got her next fight in September, about a week and a half before Noche against Sam Hughes. I didn't understand the glaze of SHAUNA Bannon's, this woman is not an elite fighter at all. And I'm not even trying to be mean. Sam Hughes is a very rough test for her, and I don't expect SHAUNA Bannon to pull this one off. I expect for her to become a mess, a bloody mess, unfortunately. Maybe not. Maybe she finally is in the flamingo stance and pulls off some Hwoarang super kick shit instead of just floating around the octagon. I actually do like Sam Hughes though, and she does hit hard. I don't know how she and her team plan to go about this, but I would just bum rush Shauna Bannon. 3-4 strike combinations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 leg kick, 1, 2 leg kick, body kick. Just go for takedowns all the time. She's gonna have her foot in the air to the rafters. I will put it this way and leave it this way. If Shauna wins this fight, it's more telling of Sam Hughes falling off than Shauna improving. An improvement from Sam at this point in her career, I don't know if there's much room for it, but she should finish Shauna Bannon within 3 rounds.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.